the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and I promise you, I am not going to talk about heart health every single day just because I had a heart attack a couple of 3 weeks ago. But it does change the way you think about things. It shouldn't, because you should be thinking about the health of your heart all the time because it's kind of the most important organ, in a lot of ways. But there's a wake-up call that you get when you have that moment where even though I had a minor heart attack, you have that moment where you wonder for a second, is this it? And it changes the way you look at things. And I hope in my case it changes in a good way. Today, Dr. Mudassar Ahmed is joining us. He's Chief of Cardiology at Northeast Georgia Health System. And you're here with me in the studio. Welcome.
Good morning, Martha. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your background first, because you're new to Gainesville, but you're not new to heart health.
That's right. Thank you. I'm fortunate to be here. I've been here in Gainesville now about 4 or 5 months. Basically, came on for this opportunity. Really excited about the position, excited about the community and our health system. Came here from Minnesota. I was Chief of Cardiology for a health system up in the Twin Cities for a number of years. And really came to Minnesota for cardiology training. I was at the University of Minnesota for cardiology training. Before that, I was in Cleveland for internal medicine training. And so really been in the Midwest for about 25 years or so. Excited about the change in weather, excited to be here. To say the community has been extremely welcoming. I've really appreciated getting to meet everybody, and excited about becoming part of this family and this community.
So, it may be more than 10 years or so, but we made a huge expansion when we started the Ronnie Green Clinic. That happened. And then we have come so far in Northeast Georgia Health System as far as our heart care over the last 25 years. But it seems like that we're doing even more now. I mean, as I mentioned at the beginning, I had a little incident almost 3 weeks ago, and I had to come in through the emergency room. I had amazing staff there waiting for me. I mean, there was great coordination between the ambulance and the ER, and that brand new ER just opened up a few months ago. Everybody was there, was ready. I was up in the stabilized into the cath lab and onto that kind of medium cardiac floor, which is not ICU necessarily, but a little bit step down from that, probably within 2 hours. I mean, it was very fast, and I was able to get the care that I needed very quickly. That's exciting, isn't it, for the people here in Gainesville, that we've got this ability, and not just Gainesville, but an entire region.
Absolutely. So firstly, I'm sorry that you had that event. Sorry that you had to experience that. But glad that everything came together the way it should. And that is really our norm, where it shouldn't matter who you are or who you know. Everybody in the community, everybody in the area, we feel should have access to world-class heart care. You shouldn't have to, live in Atlanta or next to the Mayo Clinic or next to the Cleveland Clinic. That's what we take pride in, is we can provide
Emory.
that we provide the exact same quality of care and provide it efficiently, provide it quickly, with a lot of warmth and caring. So you know that we're here for you. We know that you want to get back to your family, to your loved ones. So we get you in, get you treated, and then make sure you're doing well enough to get home quickly.
Well, and that is one thing that I noticed actually about the care, having had to use, I've lost my mother-in-law and brother-in-law in the last 2 years, and they were both at Northeast Georgia Health System, and my father-in-law is elderly, so I'm in and out of the emergency room, from time to time. I jokingly say I've used about every department at Northeast Georgia Health System for me or a family member over the last 2 years, and have had pretty good experience. But what I've noticed is the communication is so much better. I had people along the way, telling me, okay, Ms. Zoller, Martha, whatever, depending on how well they knew me, here's what we expect next. Here's how much time you might have to wait for it. And there wasn't much waiting time because of the situation I was in. But then even for my stay, after everything was stabilized, there was really a lot of communication. And I think that's really positive.
I'm glad you had that experience. We like to think of you and your families as partners with us in the care. We know that there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of unknown when you come in. We know we're really, really good at providing the medical care, doing the procedures. But as you unfortunately experienced, there's a lot more to it than the actual procedure. It's everything that's around it, making sure someone's there, making you feel that you're going to be fine, letting your family know that everything is actually going to be just okay. And so that's what we really try to bring along with the state-of-the-art, top-quality care.
So the only problem I had, it was funny because they didn't want me watching the news, because I'm a news person,
Okay.
and they didn't want me watching the news because they didn't want me to get excited, or anything like that. And you're not in charge of the television, but that television system is a challenge. Let me just tell you, it is probably the most difficult part of the stay because it doesn't make any sense. But I was able to get to the Hallmark channel, which was very calming, and that's what I did. I just kind of had it on in the background all the time because I was sleeping all the time, quite frankly. For the 2 days that I was there, I was supposed to be sleeping, and it was amazing to me that it was 2 days. I mean, I was home in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had things I had to do after that, but I was home in 2 days. And that's a real positive thing too, keeping those stays short.
It really is. I think there's no reason to have somebody in the hospital if they don't need to. I know we're really good, but you'd rather be at home eating home cooked food, being with your family. And that's what we really try and do. There's a lot of things that we can do now in terms of heart procedures, stents, pacemakers, even some surgeries where we can get you home the same day. You come in the morning, you have the procedure that you need, and you're back home by that evening. The next morning, you're going for a regular walk with family. You had a minor heart attack, so I think in your case, we wanted to be a little extra careful, observe you for a little bit longer, make sure everything was okay. But that's where we're headed is a lot of this can be done in the same day.
Yeah, so it was crazy because the episode that got me in there was stabilized, and I had a heart cath. Everything was clear. It was good. It was what they think is Takotsubo syndrome, which is basically a spasm of the heart. I had a little episode around 5:30 after I was already in the room, and they were able to come in and deal with that right away.
Mm-hmm.
They described it kind of like the first one was like the earthquake, and then I had these couple of other small ones that were more like aftershocks,
Sure.
And then when I got home, that morning I got home, I had a little episode where I had to take nitroglycerin for the first time. I mean, they'd given it to me in the hospital, but it wasn't something I had done myself and said, you're always wondering, is this the time? Should I be doing this? Is it the right thing to do? But I think what's also interesting about this is that I think a lot of people when you're 40, you should start getting mammogram. When you're 50 or sometimes 40, depending on your family history, you should get a colonoscopy. What are the guidelines around heart health? Are there those kinds of guidelines, those kind of trigger points where you need to start looking at things a little differently?
There absolutely are, and it's never too early to start. So when it comes to heart disease, especially risk of heart attacks, strokes, all of those are in the same bucket, and they're really related to your underlying risk factors. The predominant ones are having high blood pressure, having high cholesterol, being overweight, having diabetes, smoking. So those are the things that we try and get ahead of as early as we can. So we recommend, even in your late teens, early 20s, going in, seeing your primary care doctor on a regular basis, making sure your blood pressure, cholesterol under good control. If a lot of those things are managed effectively and managed early, your risk of developing heart disease can really be minimized and made extremely low. Having said that, if you have a family history, if despite those measures, you start to notice symptoms, our recommendation is not to ignore anything. So the classic thing of having crushing chest pain, while that's often talked about, I would advise really having sort of a broad spectrum of suspicion. So even if you get short of breath, for example, our general guideline is if there's things that you could do before that now you have a hard time doing, climbing a flight of stairs or 2 flights of stairs. If you could do that a few months ago and you'd be fine, but now you notice yourself having to stop halfway, you get short-winded, going for a walk, a brisk walk makes you short-winded, you start to notice a little tightness in your chest. All those things would be warning signs, and we'd recommend coming in, getting yourself checked, maybe getting a stress test if needed. Those would be the recommendations.
Came into this, and that's where a lot of these fields go. But you should that be in your quiver of primary care doctors, is having a regular cardiologist to see? Or should that only be if you're having some of these kind of symptoms?
Sure. Fortunately, the vast majority of people out there will not have heart disease, which is a really good thing. So for most people, there isn't really a need to be plugged in with a regular cardiologist. If there are strong risk factors, a strong family history, we're proud to have a really good prevention clinic where we can see people, like the name suggests, to prevent heart disease, and are happy to see really anybody. But if you don't have a strong family history, if all your risk factors are under great control, you're active, you have no symptoms, then seeing your primary care physician, your internal medicine doctor, family doctor would be just fine. Having said that, if there's ever any concern, that's why we have a setup like the prevention clinic. There's all sorts of new risk factors that are coming up. Lipoprotein little a, for example, is one that has been talked about more and more now. It's completely different from the usual LDL, HDL cholesterol, increases your risk factors. We have clinical trials that we can put you in to control that better, because there's no good drugs right now that can control that. So it really is, I think, having a good conversation with your primary care physician. Concerns, you can give us a call. We're always available to get you in and address it directly.
And that's a good point. And one of the things that I think the biggest lie ever told, and we in the media are somewhat a part of this, is that if you don't have insurance, you can't go to the doctor. And I believe there's a lot of people out there, and I know what a great community we have here, is that I think that, I know my husband, we never turned somebody away because they didn't have insurance, especially if they needed to be seen. We would come up with a payment plan. We would come up with whatever happened. And I know there are lots of resources, not only in the community, but at the medical center, where, I call it the medical center, sorry, I'm an old school, but they're there where there are opportunities that you shouldn't sit at home with symptoms because you don't have health insurance, because there's a way to do that. That's one of those things that I try to get out there all the time. Don't think because you don't have insurance that if you're having issues, you can't go to the doctor.
I'm really glad you're bringing that up, Martha. That's absolutely true. And it's especially true if you're talking about prevention, because
Yes.
Preventive care does not cost very much, with or without insurance. And so if you get in early, if you're on a blood pressure pill, those cost pennies. A lot of those are generic. If you have to unfortunately end up in the hospital, need procedures, then that can be expensive without insurance. But that's where we're proud at NGHS and NGHI to say we provide a lot of care for people that don't have the means, and we
that's
work
North
it out.
Georgia Health Institute, NGHI, or Heart Institute,
So
correct?
Georgia Heart Institute
Yes.
and Northeast Georgia Health System.
Yes, I want to be sure we get the letters in there and
Yes.
people know what they are. But you should come if you need it, or call anyway and find out what's available.
We'll figure out a way to help you.
You'll figure out a way to help. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more with Dr. Ahmed about heart health. This is Heart Health Month. We want you to be strong. And you know what? We're all going to be strong together. We'll be back.
Real-time news lives in your pocket.
You can rely on it.
Keep up with your community. Download the AccessWDUN.com app today. Powered by North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen in a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their Customer Assurance Maintenance Plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
This is Grant Nichols, and at Loretta's Country Kitchen, we know life can really pile up. There's work, getting the kids to practice, shopping. With all that, the week can really wear you out. The last thing you want to do is spend Saturday in the kitchen. Not to worry, we have you covered with Saturday lunch at Loretta's. That's right, not only are we open for breakfast on Saturdays, we're also serving up lunch from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Give your kitchen and your family a break with Saturday lunch at Loretta's Country Kitchen, Mundy Mill Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
This might be the best match you'll make all year. It's the tax match event at Krause Family Hyundai of Gainesville. We'll match your tax refund or down payment up to $3,000 when you buy a new Hyundai. So if you have $3,000, you end up with $6,000 toward a new Hyundai like the 2026 Palisade. Plus, you get America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and Hyundai Assurance. Find your match before it ends. Get to Krause Family Hyundai on Atlanta Highway off I-985 in Gainesville or visit KrauseFamilyHyundai.com for full details.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-983-2077 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-983-2077. That's 800-983-2077. What do you have to lose? Call 800-983-2077. Again, 800-983-2077.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, Forsyth commissioners approved their Parks and Recreation Department's request for the gated entry and exit to Mary Alice Park. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. We're here talking to Dr. Mudassar Ahmed, who is the Chief of Cardiology. Did I get that right? You're Chief of Cardiology?
That's right, yeah.
That's right, Chief of Cardiology at NGHS. Of course, we've talked about the risk factors. You know, obviously, you know, you guys know I talk to you about everything. I've had this big weight journey in the last 5 years. I had a pneumonic effusion at the height of COVID because I was trying to treat myself. That seems like a problem with me. I'm working on that. At the end of that, my sweet husband said, your weight hasn't caused this, but it'll make it harder for you to recover. And I came out of that being pre-diabetic. I did not become diabetic, but since then, I've lost 82 pounds. I've kept it off. My blood pressure was great. I was on no medications. Now I'm on a few, but that's okay. But I really feel firmly that had I gone on the path that I was on, I would have had this episode sooner, or it would have been worse of an impact for me because I would have been diabetic. And I don't want to be diabetic. I think we downplay how bad diabetes is. You know, that, because everybody knows in the South, everybody's got a relative that's got diabetes, okay? And you think that it's fine. But diabetes, not smoking, being able to keep your weight under control, staying active. I hate to sweat, okay? You're never going to see me in a gym sweating, okay? I just don't. I don't like to mess my makeup up. I've always been like that. But what I've done in the last 5 years, and since I've been released now to do a little bit more now, is I find ways to walk. You know, like if I'm gonna go see somebody across the square, I don't drive my car, I walk there. I park in the back of the parking lot. I find ways to get movement into my day so that I'm moving. And then I put a rowing machine. I'm not allowed to use it yet, but I put a rowing machine in my office about 5 years ago at home. And so I might just do 10 minutes 3 times a day on the rowing machine, but I get it in.
That's amazing, Martha. I have to congratulate you, because that's the exact attitude that we need to not just cure but also prevent heart disease. And like you said, it doesn't actually take a lot. It's not complicated. Walking, that's actually the number one thing that I recommend, because it's easy to do. You can get in 20-30 minutes essentially every day. And even if you don't have time, what you talked about are exactly the things we say. You go to the grocery store, instead of fighting for that spot next to the door, park across the lot. You'll get in quicker, and then you'll walk in. You won't break a sweat, but you'll get some benefit from that. You do that a couple of times a day. If you have a flight of stairs to go up, if it's one flight up, take the stairs instead of the elevator. All those little things add up and make a profound difference over the years.
Yeah, it's funny because we have an older house, and so our master bedroom is upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody we know is like adjusting their house so that they can all be on one level and all that stuff. And I told my husband, no, we've got 2 bedrooms on the main level, and if someday we get to the point we can't climb those stairs, you know what I mean, we'll go into one of those bedrooms. But I said, as long as we can climb those stairs to the bedroom, we're going to do it, because I think every time you climb a stair, every time you do that. But I will tell you now, looking back on it, I did notice some shortness of breath going upstairs the few weeks leading up to this event that I had. But I was sick at the time, and so, you know, I was explaining it away. You know, I think that we do that too, don't we? Because we don't want to think we're having a heart attack. We want to think that, oh, it's just nothing.
You're right. It's
and most of the time it is nothing.
Many times it is nothing, but you don't want to take that chance, right? It's a lot. We're all busy. That's one thing. So you assume it's going to go away. You don't want to take the time to, block half a morning or half an afternoon to go, see the doctor. You assume it's not going to be me. This sort of stuff happens to others. It's not going to happen to me. But like you unfortunately saw, it can happen to any of us. And I'm really glad you got in when you did. And I think the recommendation again would be, if you start to notice any of those symptoms, any of that early shortness of breath, any early warning signs, don't sit on them. Go see your doctor right away. If they end up telling you this is nothing, it's great. They don't think you wasted their time. They're actually glad you came in, because that's the other thing people think is, I'm going to go waste their time. We absolutely don't think that. We want you to come in before there's a serious problem so we can reassure you, we can get to the bottom of things. And if it's nothing, we're actually as happy as you are.
Dr. Ahmed, thank you so much for being with us today. And hopefully I won't see him very often, except in social situations. We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show.
Winter days have me dreaming of sunny, warm shores and great times with friends around the table. That's why I'm looking forward to teaming up with Colette and Peach State Bank and Trust to head to Portugal with you this fall. It's Bill Main inviting you to join us as we enjoy multiple nights in charming Porto and the amazing Algarve coast. We'll walk the cobblestone streets and cruise the scenic Douro River, from the colorful capital of Lisbon to the stunning whitewashed villages of the Algarve. We'll savor wonderful foods, bask on beautiful beaches, and even tour a family-owned cork factory. If you missed the recent informational meeting we had with Colette, fear not, it's not too late to find out more and to get signed up. All you need to do is log on to WDUNTravels.com for all the information. You can even sign up there. Or call Colette at 800-581-8942. Get your questions answered and then get on board with us September 28th as we head for Portugal. Presented by Colette, Peach State Bank and Trust, and North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin. Check out the new savings event here at Hayes. 2026 Chevy Trax for only $24,990. 2025 Chevy Suburbans for $11,000 off MSRP. Or best of all, a 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500, $10,000 off MSRP, including trades assistance rebate. Ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty and come check out these deals and more at Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30. Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. President Trump promises to deliver a long State of the Union speech tonight, says he's got a lot to say. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox.
He'll be sharing these stories, again, of everyday Americans who are directly benefiting from his policies and making a few new policy announcements as well to continue tackling the affordability crisis that Joe Biden created 1 year ago.
At least 36 Democrats plan to boycott, but U.S. Olympic heroes from the men's gold-winning hockey team will be there. The Guthrie family announces a $1 million reward for the return of their mother, Nancy, missing from her Tucson home nearly a month, atop the FBI $200K reward. The blizzard of 26 snow trophy goes to Providence, Rhode Island. All-time record 37.9 inches. 350,000 customers still without power, most in Massachusetts. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Monday's proceedings in the trial for father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray saw an hours-long testimony from Marcy Gray, Colin Gray's wife, and Colt's mother. She voiced past concern for Colt's mental state ahead of the shooting that killed 4 people and left 9 others injured in September 2024.
I think in general, the defendant just didn't want to deal with it.
During Marcy's testimony, the defense motioned for a mistrial after Marcy had made what they called speculative statements regarding Colt and Colin's relationship. That motion was denied. The Georgia Public Service Commission voted 3-2 to block reconsidering a major electric grid expansion. More from WDUN's Caleb Hutchins.
The newest members on the Georgia Public Service Commission, Democrats Alicia Johnson and Peter Hubbard, moved to reconsider a 10,000-megawatt electric grid expansion approved in December of last year. Georgia Power cited anticipated demand from data centers as a reason for their expansion request. Hubbard said in a press release that his proposal is not anti-growth, but pro-consumer, pro-law, and pro-common sense.
And Forsyth County will introduce a new park pass and automated gate system at Mary Alice Park later this spring, with the purpose to enhance park operations and support parking enforcement efforts. A link to find more information can be found with more news online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Tuesday morning, North Georgia. It is a chilly start to the day. Partly cloudy skies will end up in the low 50s, turning cloudy upper 30s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Commerce, 28 degrees. In Cumming, 26. And in Gainesville, 27 degrees. From North Georgia's News Talk AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hi, this is Cal Cooley with Electronic Sales Company, and joining me today is Charlie Bramwell, Director of Interactive Neighborhood for Kids, better known as Inc. around here. When we help move your burglar alarm, fire alarm, cameras, and all the other things, I had no idea how impressive and big Inc. has become. Where's your new location?
We moved to Oakwood, the center of Oakwood.
Got anything special coming up?
Yes, sir. We have several new exhibits coming in within the next month or two. The Department of Transportation is putting in some roads for us. We're talking to the FAA about bringing some monitors in so kids can actually see real-life flights. We have an extremely nice train exhibit. And yesterday, we was donated a train console from an actual train. We're going to refurbish it and put it next to the train exhibit so kids can actually be the train conductor and move levers and valves.
I am so excited. Everybody, you need to go down there to Inc. in Oakwood.
Your community partner in protection, Electronic Sales Company. See them today online at electronicsalesco.com.
Use the Access WDUN talk and text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and tonight is the State of the Union address. And so we wanted to talk to Kirsten Pels, who is a spokesperson for the Republican National Committee, about what to expect on tonight. And so, Kirsten, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Good. And I also, before we get any further, just want to thank Miss Jorgensen, who just came by and brought me some flowers for being back. I've been out for a couple of weeks. I had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm back, and I'm so glad. And it's so nice, Kirsten, to live in a town where someone's going to drop by and leave you flowers.
Well, I'm really happy that you're back and feeling better.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So what should we expect tonight from the State of the Union?
So I've seen that the president will be focusing a lot on the economy tonight. All of the economic wins, the tax cuts, the what he's done on prescription drugs, what he's done to bring down gas prices across the board. And I also saw that he's going to essentially be also speaking to the fact that this is America's 250th anniversary, and America in its 250th year is more prosperous than ever before, more respected than ever before. And so I think that's going to be the broader theme. And I know the president mentioned, I saw in the news that he said it was going to be quite a long speech, which I would not be surprised to hear, given that President Trump has a lot of stamina and a lot to talk about. And so I think we will hear, primarily about the economy, but of course, I would also expect to hear about the peace deals that he's making abroad, ending wars. And so I think we will just see a plethora of examples of what this administration is doing, kind of firing on all cylinders just a little over a year back into his second term as president.
Yeah, and of course, last year it was kind of disappointing. I mean, we live not too far from where Laken Riley was murdered 2 years ago, and her family was at the State of the Union last year. And of course, there was this, partisan situation where the Democrats would not stand up for her family. And, I just don't understand. And I'll be watching tonight because it looks like the men's hockey team is going to be there tonight. And, hopefully that we can show that we can unite on certain things, even though we may be divided on other things. There's a lot of good things that are happening in the economy, in the country, in the things that are happening. And sure, we still have problems. We always have problems. This idea that there was a time when there were no problems just doesn't exist. And I think that we've got to learn to work together a little bit better. And I do see that the president is trying to be a little less divisive in his tone about certain things. I mean, you saw the way he spoke about Jesse Jackson a couple of weeks ago. And that's one of the things I really like about him, is that there are these sides of him that people don't see very often. And I hope he shows more of that tonight. I know we can't tell him what to do. I know we can't tell him what to do because I've met him several times, and I know you can't tell him what to do. But I hope he shows more of that side of himself.
I think you raise a good point when you speak to unity, when you speak about the things that bring Americans together. What's sad to me is seeing all of these Democrats that are boycotting the State of the Union address, especially since, like you said, the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team is going to be there. It was really inspiring seeing their patriotism, their love of country, and that is something that should bring all Americans together. And I think President Trump has been uniquely suited for this moment and actually bringing together Americans from different parts of the U.S., all corners of this movement. And that's what he did in 2024. He brought together different people that shared the love of country, wanting to put America first, which is a very popular platform. And so it does make me sad to really feel like when, you could have Democrats that might disagree with President Trump, but they can at least show up instead of holding their own sort of grandstanding events. And what it feels like to me is that they're rooting against this administration and all of the good things that they're doing. And they're also standing up plenty of American heroes like our U.S. men's hockey team and other guests I'm sure that will be there. That will be fantastic. I just saw that Melania Trump is going to be hosting some standout young women as well. So it should be interesting to see who else is there. But I think, to your point, I think that unity in America first will be something that I think I could see President Trump definitely speaking to tonight.
So as we move forward into the midterms, of course, our primaries are in May, and then we'll have a runoff, and then we'll be sprinting through the summer and fall to the midterms. And look, we all know the statistics. Statistically, with the exception of 2002, the party in power tends to lose ground at the midterm. So we know that we've got a tough battle to fight. But what do you see as the messaging for that midterm so that we can highlight really the accomplishments that have been made and the fact that this president needs to have needs to have a good midterm election to be able to continue in the next 2 years?
Well, I think there is, two main messages that at least I see right now. And I know we're still a little bit of a ways out, but I think number one, the voters are clearly concerned about and care about the economy. And President Trump inherited really terrible economy from Joe Biden. Remember, it got up to 9% inflation. He's brought that all the way back down, but there's still work to do. And I think President Trump and this administration will do their best and make sure to really listen to the voters, listen to their concerns, make sure that they're not only turning this economy around, but I think going into the spring, getting into summer, the economy is really going to heat up. You're going to have the tax refunds hit from the one big beautiful bill, and you're going to potentially have interest rates come down as well. And the economy, I think, will, and all the markers that we've seen so far, the latest jobs day report, for example, show really good signs. And I think the American people will really start to feel that as we head closer to the midterms. The second point is this, and I think that if you look at what 4 years of Democrat governance gave us under Joe Biden, I think we can strike a direct contrast between the sky-high inflation, the high gas prices, the open borders, the chaos under Joe Biden, and we can make sure that people understand the stakes, that if Democrats regain control of Congress, the American people will get sham impeachments, investigations, Democrat chaos, far-left extremism. They will get no solutions, and they won't get to reap all of the benefits that a full 4 years of Republican control would give them, given the fact that when Republicans have Congress, we can actually get things done, and we don't have to put up with these impeachment trials that are just a sideshow and a waste of the taxpayer dollar.
Well, I mean, and you mentioned the tax refunds. You know, I've talked to a number of people because I think what a lot of folks that live in this bubble of government where you know, they maybe are an elected official where they have a driver take them everywhere. I mean, you know, one of the challenges with Congress is, yeah, they make $174,000 a year, which is a nice salary, but they live a lifestyle like they make $500,000 or more because they have a driver and a scheduler and all the trappings that come along with that. And so they forget where they came from. Well, I've talked to a number of people that if you're in that W-2 world or even in that 1099 world, as soon as you get that W-2 or 1099, you're filing your taxes. You're not filing for extensions. You're not, because you're expecting to get some money back. And I got to tell you, I've talked to a number of people that are in my circle that are either people that get tips, or they are 1099 employees, or they are W-2 employees where they've already filed their taxes and they already know that they're getting a much bigger refund back this time than what they got last year.
Yes, and I think that that's something that you'll see President Trump speak to tonight, but also cabinet members, Scott Bessent, for example, talking about this in the coming months. And I do think that this is important because it shows like the actual tangible benefits that the American people see the cash in their pockets, the money that they're getting, and that is solely because President Trump and Republicans signed these tax cuts across the board into law. And so if you had Democrats in charge, your taxes would be going up, not down. And so I think that actually is something that will really drive a lot of the messaging over the next couple of months.
Kirsten Pels from the RNC, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take it up to the top of the hour.
When you need news, anytime, day or night, get it from the source that's been delivering local news digitally for a quarter of a century. Go with AccessWDUN.com and the Access WDUN app, powered by North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
This is Nick
and Laura from
Nichols Body Shop. We want you to know it's your choice who repairs your vehicle.
Do not assume you can get the best repair for the cheapest price.
Every shop is different.
We work for you, our customer, to give you the best repair possible.
Learn more by calling 770-967-8200 or come by the shop. Estimates are always free.
You can also find us on Facebook at Nichols Body Shop,
the home of quality repairs
and old-fashioned service.
You've got meals to plan, children to ferry from practice to ball games, shopping and dusting, and good grief. Give yourself a break and take your laundry to Townview Coin Laundry. Take your comforters, quilts, blankets, and mattress covers. They'll wash, dry, and fold your laundry, or you can use their industrial-sized machines. Townview Coin Laundry saves wear and tear on your washer and dryer and on you, too. Get the stains out at Townview Coin Laundry at the corner of Bradford Street and College Avenue in downtown Gainesville, open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
While technology has certainly changed the way people do business, it hasn't changed the way we treat our customers. It's Mike Cormier, and at Hardy Chevrolet, we are as committed to excellent customer service as the Hardys were when they started the business here in Gainesville over 4 decades ago. When it's time for a new or used vehicle, remember what Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
250 years of America, built one town, one voice, one unforgettable mile at a time. This year, as our nation celebrates its 250th birthday, Travel with Anita brings those stories to life with Quarter Miles Travel. We're sharing the places where history still breathes, communities that shape the country, and landscapes that remind us of who we are. But these aren't just stories to hear. There are places you can go, roads you can travel, experiences you can step into. Quarter Miles Travel connects you to real destinations, real people, and real journeys waiting for you. Listen to us on air, online, and wherever you get your podcasts. Then visit travelwithanita.com for itineraries, travel ideas, and places where your next story begins. The adventure starts when you reach into your pocket.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, 2 window washers are rescued after a minor equipment malfunction in downtown Gainesville Monday. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You've written a hell of a book, and I don't say that lightly. I went through it in a quick hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And trust me, I don't read very fast, but it reads at an unbelievable pace. It's so well written. And of course, it's so familiar because I felt a little bit adjacent to so much of the subject matter, but it's 18 chapters. It's an impressive piece of work. 200.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. So that's Gavin Newsom talking about how he read 230 pages or 270 pages on somebody's book. And then on his book tour, now I want to correct some things that are being said out there about this event that happened over the weekend. Gavin Newsom was on the stage with Andre Dickens, and it seems like nobody knows who Andre Dickens is. He is the mayor of Atlanta. He is a Democrat, but he also has a degree from Georgia Tech in chemical engineering, which means he is no slouch academically. That's probably the toughest degree to get at Georgia Tech. Usually when somebody's graduating in chemical engineering in the spring class, there might be 25 or 30. In my son's class that was a August graduation, there were 4. And in the December graduation, there's 5 or 6 or 7. Chemical engineers are badasses academically. Okay, so Gavin Newsom is sitting up on the stage with Andre Dickens, who is a prominent Democrat who he should know the background of if his people prepared him well. And he's talking about, well, I'm just like you with my 960 SAT. But I got some pictures of the audience. Everybody assumed because he was on a stage, and you know what assume means, and I made this same assumption, and I stand corrected on it, and that's why I'm correcting it right now, is that it was a black audience. Okay, it was not. It was a mostly white audience. There were some black folks. There was a mixed audience, I think would be a fairer thing to say. But people assumed because Gavin Newsom was sitting up there with Andre Dickens that it was a black audience. And that's on us. And what was interesting, too, is he went to a very fancy private school, Gavin Newsom did. He was judged best dressed, And when a San Francisco newspaper did an article about his senior class, they all talked about how they didn't talk to the little scholarship minority students because they didn't fit in with their crowd. Now, granted, I'm not going to hold somebody in his 50s accountable for something he said when he was a stupid 18-year-old, but he wasn't some guy that came from nothing, okay? He was a guy that came from a family who was a financial manager of the Getty fortune, okay? So he had every privilege in the world. He is the definition of white privilege, if there is such a thing, okay? So he says, all this stuff, and the crowd, if you saw the pictures of the crowd, they were arms crossed. You know how it looks when people aren't that happy about what you're saying. There might have been a few people laughing about what he said, but most of the people were sitting there like they were annoyed, okay? But here's the point that everybody's missing, from my great friends at the Ruthless Podcast to every other national news media outlet, and they've all reported on it. Here's what they're missing. He was sitting on stage with the mayor of Atlanta, who he clearly didn't know anything about, who was a degree holder in chemical engineering from Georgia Tech, one of the top 3 engineering schools in the country, maybe number 1. A lot of people think it's number 1 now. But he's a brilliant guy, an elected Democrat official, and it appears that Gavin Newsom didn't know who he was talking to. And what I would have done if I were advising him, which I think it's good that he made the self-deprecating joke. People love that. Okay, I'm not that smart, blah, 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 blah. They love that. But what he missed was he should have drawn in to Andre Dickens, hey, this guy's smart right here. He's a chemical engineering degree. I could never match up to that. Be self-deprecating in that way and draw Andre Dickens in a positive way. That's what I would have advised him to do if I had been his handler. But clearly he doesn't take direction, and he doesn't know the people that he's on stage with. He didn't see that, because you couldn't see the audience and see that it was a mixed audience, white and black, that because he was being interviewed by a black interviewer, and that's what one person, the black interviewer, no, that's the mayor of Atlanta, folks. None of you did your homework. And I talked to the mayor's office about this. I've talked to some other folks about it, and I stand corrected on the audience. I assumed it was a black audience too, but it was a mixed audience. But he clearly didn't understand he was sitting up there with the mayor of Atlanta, who is probably the best educated mayor of Atlanta, whether you like him or not policy-wise, that we've ever had, and probably one of the best educated mayors in the country because of his degree in chemical engineering. So we'll see how all of that happens. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. We got a couple of calls in about, Lisa said, Martha, there's no problem with you talking about your heart attack. You've given us so much information, and I even went home and spoke to my husband about not working in the cold and not taking medicine with a D behind it. So if anything you can tell us about your experience, please know it's helpful and needed. Thank you, Lisa. And Alan said, I recently went to NGHS for a calcium scan of my heart and a CT scan of my heart. Great experience, scored a 21. Is that a useful, helpful tool? And I did check with Dr. Ahmed. It is. And if you scored a 21, they're probably going to put you on statin drugs. But again, he's not your doctor, so you need to talk to your own doctor about that. But yeah, 21 score. I had a 0 score. Even with the problem that I had a 0 score. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. At 10:30, we're going to have Rick Jackson in here. We're going to be talking with him about his race for governor. We also are going to talk to Matt Reeves at the top of the hour. He's a state rep who is working on insurance costs in Georgia. I made the point with Dr. Ahmed about how you shouldn't think you can't go to the doctor because you don't have insurance. But insurance costs are a big issue. I'm on Medicare now, and I have a supplement. I do old school Medicare with a supplement and a drug plan. And I'm paying, because I'm still working, I'm paying about $700 a month for my Medicare coverage. My husband's at around $500 a month for his Medicare coverage because he's already getting Social Security, and that plays into it somehow. I don't understand how. But prior to me getting Medicare age, and I was self-employed, I was paying about $1,800 a month for my health insurance. So it's one of those things that I think people need to understand and be a part of. Now, you can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. We're going to keep talking about the issues of the day. There are a lot of things that are going to be happening in not only in Gainesville, but around the state because, we're going to talk to Rick Jackson later on in the program, and he has upended this governor's race. And look, if you deny that, you're not living in Realville, as Rush would like to say. Okay? This race has been changed, the direction has been changed, and the other people that are in the race are reacting to him as opposed to running their own campaigns. And that is a change. Now, that may not continue, okay? But that's where we are right now. And generally, after somebody gets into a race, there's no traction there. But there is traction here. And I think you have to acknowledge that and understand that. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. Now, we have got so many things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk to Matt Reeves just after the top of the hour, and then we'll talk to Rick Jackson about his run for governor. We had Chris Carr scheduled for tomorrow, but he's had a conflict come up, and we will have him on next week. The lieutenant governor has an open invitation, as does Secretary Raffensperger, but they have not taken us up on that. I think they've been on Bill's show, and they've been on the Drive at 5. And, we're glad to have them on anywhere that they can be on in this particular situation. But there's a lot going on in Georgia, and I get so frustrated when my good friends around the country don't get it right, and they don't see the things that I saw. The problem with Gavin Newsom was not necessarily the audience he was in front of, which was a mixed audience, black and white, but the fact he was sitting next to Andre Dickens, who has a degree in chemical engineering, and went to Georgia Tech, and he's making this thing that I'm just like you, I'm a screw-up, basically. Everybody's not a screw-up. There's a lot of people out there that work really hard. There's a lot of people out there that try to start things over again and be as successful as they can. It's the Martha Zoller Show. There's so much more to come, and we will keep talking with you.
This might be the best match you'll make all year. It's the Tax Match event at Krause Family Hyundai of Gainesville. We'll match your tax refund or down payment up to $3,000 when you buy a new Hyundai. So if you have $3,000, you end up with $6,000 toward a new Hyundai like the 2026 Palisade. Plus, you get America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and Hyundai Assurance. Find your match before it ends. Get to Krause Family Hyundai on Atlanta Highway off I-985 in Gainesville, or visit KrauseFamilyHyundai.com for full details.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. A much bigger reward in the Nancy Guthrie search. I'm Dave Anthony.
We are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery.
Savannah Guthrie in a new video this morning on day 24 of the search for her mother in Tucson, Arizona, saying they're in agony.
Worrying about her and fearing for her and aching for her. And most of all, just missing her.
Adding in that Vince Instagram video, someone knows how to find their mom.
We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope.
President Trump will talk to the nation tonight in the State of the Union address. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox.
And the president is, of course, going to tout his administration's record-setting accomplishments over the past year while laying out an ambitious agenda to continue making the American dream more attainable and affordable.
But more than 36 Democrats will not show up tonight, boycotting as they keep blocking new funding for Homeland Security, demanding reform to immigration enforcement they say went out of control. The president could also address foreign conflicts tonight. This is the 4th anniversary of Russia invading Ukraine, and leader Vladimir Putin keeps waging that war amid U.S. brokered talks trying to end it. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said this morning,
Putin has not achieved his goals. He has not broken Ukrainians. He has not won this war. We have preserved Ukraine, and we will do everything to secure peace and justice.
Now, the president may also talk about Iran. He has warned of military action soon if Iran does not agree to a deal to scale back its nuclear program. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will brief a group of Republicans and Democrats on congressional intelligence committees before tonight's address. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and the father of the alleged Appalachia High School shooter's trial saw his 6th day on Monday, and Colin Gray's wife and Colt Gray's mother, Marcy, testified, saying she thought Colin was evasive to getting Colt therapy.
My personal opinion is that he was afraid that Colt would go in and start talking about emotional, mental abuse that he was suffering at the hands of the defendant.
During Marcy's testimony, the defense motioned for a mistrial after Marcy had made what they called a speculative statement on Colt and Colin's relationship. That motion was denied. 2 window washers rescued Monday afternoon after an equipment malfunction in downtown Gainesville. WDUN's William Daughtry reports.
Gainesville Fire Rescue said the 2 workers were inside a boom lift on the Gainesville Square when the equipment released and turned upside down. Crews responded to the scene and used a ladder truck to safely bring both individuals to the ground. The workers were wearing proper safety harnesses at the time of the incident, which prevented injuries.
A judge has sentenced an Oakwood man to 25 years in prison after the man pleaded guilty to a rape charge last week. WDUN's Caleb Hutchins reports.
26-year-old Siobhan Chadwayne Davis of Oakwood had been arrested in February of 2025 with police accusing him of raping an underage girl between May and July of 2024. Davis struck a plea deal with prosecutors, pleading guilty to 1 count of rape, while prosecutors dropped an additional rape charge as well as charges of incest and child molestation. A judge sentenced Davis to life, with the first 25 years to be spent in prison and the rest on probation.
And a new medical campus for patient-centered care and emergency services will be opening soon in Rabun County, with Medlink, Georgia, preparing its ribbon-cutting ceremony for late March. An issued statement on Monday says their new campus will be on US 441 near Claiborne Street in Clayton. Medlink officials say the state-of-the-art 31,000-square-foot facility will offer family medicine, pediatrics, behavioral health, as well as women's health care and several more practices, along with an in-house pharmacy and on-site imaging suite. More details can be found through Medlink's website, with a link to the site found at Access WDUN. Now, here's your Access WDUN Tuesday forecast.
Good Tuesday morning, North Georgia. It is a chilly start to the day. Partly cloudy skies will end up in the low 50s. Turning cloudy as we head into tonight, upper 30s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
Right now in Blairsville, we have 26 degrees. Sugar Hill reporting 31, and in Gainesville, 29 degrees. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550. and FM 102.9 WDUN.
If you have spring fever, Full Bloom Nursery in Claremont is the place to shop. This is Kelly, and since 2003, we have been North Georgia's source for large quantities of annuals, perennials, vegetables, hanging baskets, and shrubs. We're a true nursery where you can shop for quality plants at great prices. Whatever your needs, we have 5 acres of inventory, so there's always something for everyone. Visit our website at fullbloomnursery.com or call 678-616-3035.
Full Bloom reopens Monday, March 2nd. We're talking with Mike Robertson of Oakwood Tire and More. And Mike, I understand you guys have moved. Where can we find you?
3440 Mabry Road, which is right off of Mountain View.
Still offering the same services?
We won't be doing alignments, but we'll be doing tires. Tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, those kind of things that normal maintenance repair.
Sounds good. Give us the address one more time. Make sure we don't miss out.
You can find us at 3440 Mabry Road at oakwoodtire.com or even the same phone number, 770-535-0943.
Talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. Welcome back. And again, I want to thank Chris Jorgensen for coming by here and bringing me flowers. A girl loves to get some flowers. And thank you so much for bringing it back and being a loyal listener. Joining me right now is Representative Matt Reeves. And he did a lot of work last week about insurance costs. And I think it's an important topic to talk about, as well as some other ones under the Gold Dome. Matt, how are you?
Doing great, Martha. Good to get to talk to you and your listeners this morning. I appreciate you keeping my constituents in Sugar Hill and Swanee and Duluth informed on things like this insurance bill. I've got a House colleague, Representative Derek McCollum from Hall County, here with me, and Representative Sue Hong says hello also. She's got part of Hall County. We're working hard on some education bills today, but I appreciate you spending some time looking at these insurance bills to make insurance more affordable.
Yeah, so tell us about that, because I know you had a press conference last week, but tell us about that, because to me, I think that's the number one financial issue that impacts people's lives.
That's right, Martha. Last year, Speaker John Burns appointed 17 members of the House, which is nearly a tenth of the House, to do a study committee on insurance rates and insurance claims practices to make sure that insurance is more affordable: auto insurance, homeowners insurance, business insurance, health insurance. And so what we did, we had meetings in Macon, Georgia, Savannah, Gwinnett County, and at the state capitol. We invited the insurance colleges at UGA, Georgia State, University of South Carolina to shed light on it. And then we heard from citizens who had problems with claims and expenses. We heard from the insurance industry, from people all around the state. We worked all around the state, all across the aisle, to find ways to make insurance more affordable. What we came out with is 4 bills. The big bill is House Bill 1344. That raises over 40 fines on insurance companies when they have violations of the law or policies. We crack down on insurance fraud, like staged accidents and things like that. We made uninsured motorist enforcement a priority. And then storm claim processing. We've had these ice storms, you've got hurricanes, tornadoes, floods. If there's some storm, we want to make sure that people get the help they need quicker. And we learned a lot from Hurricane Michael and Hurricane Helene, and we've implemented some things from Florida and other places that have experienced storms more frequently than we do. So the net result of it is people are going to get the benefit of the policies they have, and we're going to make costs lower. I'd like to point out 2 insurance companies have recently entered the Georgia market in the last 2 months or so. American Integrity Insurance, then Donegal from Athens re-entered our market, and then 10 companies have cut their rates: State Farm, Liberty Mutual, Safeco, Southern General, Progressive, Hanover, Go Auto, Allstate, and Country Mutual. That is in contrast to other states where companies are leaving the market and still increasing their rates. We are trying to keep the momentum going of lower rates and more companies entering our market. And the second bill we've got is auto excess profits, House Bill 1274. During our hearing, we had a lot of people say, if companies are profiting and they're able to run these fancy commercials, we ought to be getting that benefit as customers. And so Insurance Commissioner John King found a Florida statute that several other states have also that says if a company, if they state their expected profit, yet they're profiting more than 5% more than that consistently, they are mandated to file a rate decrease. And what that did in Florida is one insurance company had to cut their rates $1 billion. And what it does is it makes the insurance companies more modest when they're filing the rates in the first place to keep their rates low. And then two other ones, surprise medical billing, mental health parity, and premium tax issue. Those things will also have a positive impact on Georgians getting treated fairly. So we've looked around the country. We're doing more in Georgia on affordability for insurance than anywhere else in the country for the sake of our people. I appreciate you covering that, Martha.
Well, and I think, too, the biggest challenge I look at is if you look at things, and I know we're talking about car insurance as well as health insurance, but if you look at things pre-Medicare, okay, there were some good models in place where communities and other places were dealing with their health care costs in a very different way. Now, granted, it wasn't as expensive as it is now because of a lot of reasons. But the challenge I think we have at the state is that while I think all this work is great work and some of it is going to make a huge difference in the cost for average Georgians, and I think that's exactly what you need to be doing. But the bigger challenge, I think, is the whole overall structure on some of these things. That you are put in a position, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that you're having to kind of chip around the edges, if you will, and improve what we already have, as opposed to being able to make the whole system work better for the individual. Am I off base there?
Well, I think you get good results when you've got the regulator working with elected officials and having legislative oversight with year-round 365-day help from the regulator. And here in Georgia, that's Insurance Commissioner John King. I met him when he was the police chief in Doraville. He's also got military experience as an Army officer. And so he cleaned up the insurance department in the way of integrity, and he is fully engaged as a regulator. He came to our first meeting, and he told the insurance companies, now that tort reform passed, and I'd like to point out by one vote in the House, he said, y'all need to be cutting your rates. And first it started with about 3 companies, and then it snowballed. Now we got 10 companies in the course of a few months. This bill, I believe, will turbocharge that and have more rate decreases and better claims handling. And so we've got a team effort in Georgia where the Speaker of the House, where the insurance commissioner, and 180 House members are throwing the book at the problem. We literally have like a 50-page bill, the biggest in the country. This is a top priority. We're voting on literacy and education today, but this will be there soon. It's Speaker's top priority this year, along with homeowner property taxes and things like that. So we are helping make insurance more affordable. Martha, one thing, here's a statistic. I heard this from the Department of Driver Services Commissioner, Commissioner McClendon. We have over 9.1 million driver's licenses in Georgia, and we all know it when we're sitting in traffic. But 20% of them are uninsured. That's almost 2 million. That's what we're paying for. And so this bill saying to folks, if you get behind the wheel and crank up the car, you need to have insurance or you're going to face some consequences. You can't put that expense off on people who work hard and play by the rules and take a free ride. So you need to make sure you got insurance.
So there's not, how many driver's licenses in Georgia?
There's over 9.1 million. We got over 11 million Georgians, and Commissioner McClendon at the Appropriations Committee the other day, I got it on paper. So there's over 9.1 million driver's licenses.
So of the 11 point whatever million people there are in Georgia, 9.1 million of them are eligible for a driver's license? How does that work?
Here's the actual. It is 1,119,452 current Georgia driver's licenses as of last week per the Commissioner of Department of Driver Services.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. I think there's a lot of work that has to be done. I appreciate the work that you do. Now, putting on your other hat, we're going into an election, and there's a lot of you guys that are retiring, okay, whether it's, whatever. Is that something you guys are thinking about as you go through this session? because it's regardless of who wins and who loses, we're going to have a very different legislature next year.
Well, when I came in 4 years ago, we had a lot of turnover after redistricting, and Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones and Chair Lady Lynn Smith, they've announced their retirement. But I could say Representative McCollum, Sue Hong, Brent Cox from right across the lake from you. I know we all are going strong. We are optimistic about the future. You know, Georgia's been number one in some good things, number one in business and many other good things for over 10 years. There are a lot of folks in Atlanta who would like to take us in the direction of California and other states where people are moving here from. And we are fighting hard to make sure our quality of life and affordability is strong here in Georgia. And we want to keep that up. You know, in California and Colorado, many states, you got insurance companies leaving the market. You got costs going up. Here in Georgia, we are delivering results for people with insurance, those 9.1 million drivers. And so we want to highlight that to people in this election, that you've got a choice between homeownership, between lower insurance costs, lower homeowner property taxes, and policies that are failing in other states. We want to deliver results on affordability for our constituents, and from Sugarloaf to Sugar Hill in my district, and then Chateau Lawn, Brazelton, South Hall for Representative McCollum.
So, Matt, if people want more information, how can they get that?
Absolutely. If you go to the committee website up on the Georgia House and go to the study committee on insurance rates, you've got that. Also, House Bill 1344, 1274, 1262, and 1263. And again, matt.reeves at house.ga.gov. I'd be glad to provide you more information on the bill. But we are fighting for you guys to make sure your car insurance, homeowners insurance, small business insurance is going down in cost.
Well, Matt Reeves, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Martha. Hey, Martha, let me say, my mother-in-law went through some hard issues a year and a half ago. You know, you've got a heart of gold, and you're a conservative fighter's heart, and I'm glad you're doing better. And you've had a lot of people thinking about you and praying for you, and glad you're back in the saddle.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with you.
On Tuesday's edition of The Drive at 5, we'll hear from a Jackson County elementary school student who recently saved his pets from a fire. Join us at 5 o'clock here on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Hi, this is Cal Cooley with Electronic Sales Company, and joining me today is Charlie Bramwell, Director of Interactive Neighborhood for Kids, better known as INC around here. When we help move your burglar alarm, fire alarm, cameras, and all the other things, I had no idea how impressive and big INC has become. Where's your new location?
We moved to Oakwood, the center of Oakwood.
Got anything special coming up?
Yes, sir. We have several new exhibits coming in within the next month or two. The Department of Transportation is putting in some roads for us. We're talking to the FAA about bringing some monitors in so kids can actually see real-life flights. We have an extremely nice train exhibit. And yesterday, we was donated a train console from an actual train. We're going to refurbish it and put it next to the train exhibit so kids can actually be the train conductor and move levers and valves.
I am so excited. Everybody, you need to go down there to INC in Oakwood.
Your community partner in protection, Electronic Sales Company. See them today online at electronicsalesco.com.
Buying or selling real estate. We do so much more than just open doors. Buying a home encompasses a 180-item checklist. I'll be glad to share it with you. Our commission is our success fee. You need Norton now more than ever. I'm Frank Norton with the Norton Agency. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. And let me tell you, I love numbers. 1040s, 1099s, W-2s, all of them. With TaxSlayer, anyone can file a federal return for just $22.99. You'll get 100% accuracy and your biggest possible refund guaranteed. Now those are great numbers. Need help along the way? We've got US-based real human support. File by February 8th for just $22.99 and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, day 7 of testimony today for Colin Gray, the father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
So Gavin Newsom thinks that because he's a dumbass and scored less than 1,000 in the SAT that he can relate to the black experience. That's what he said to a room of black and brown people in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, just this past weekend. And this man said this with a straight face, that because he scored a 960 on the SAT, he was just like me. Well, Gavin, let me tell you something. I didn't score a 960 on the SAT. I scored a lot higher than that on the SAT. And by the way, a lack of academic performance or the ability to excel within school doesn't make you black. But what it does do, if you think that that does make you black, is that it makes you a racist, right? So it's so funny to me that the Democrats, while they no longer wear those white hooded robes that the KKK would run around in as they terrorize black people, they still find a way to remind us in ways big and small that they did used to wear those robes. Apparently,
It is the Martha Zoller Show. That's C.J. Pearson from Georgia. And it's an important thing that I want to be accurate about this, because Gavin Newsom has taken a lot of you-know-what about this. And I want to be accurate about it because it was not a black audience, okay? It was a mixed audience. There were a lot of white folks in this audience. And I actually got sent to me pictures of the audience while he was talking, and they were unhappy. They were sitting there with their arms folded. They were looking. He wasn't hitting his target making these comments, okay? Now, here's what people are missing. And my good friends on the Ruthless podcast, they got this wrong. Everybody I know has gotten this wrong, and nobody's brought this up. They keep referring, the mainstream media, to Mayor Andre Dickens as a black interviewer, okay? Obviously, nobody recognized Andre Dickens, okay, in this particular picture. But Gavin Newsom should have known who Andre Dickens was when he goes down this path. I mean, he was there to help Keisha Lance Bottoms, who I would love to have her be the Democratic nominee. That would be so easy, okay? Mike Thurman is who I'm worried about on the Democratic side, because Mike Thurman can peel off 100,000 squishy Republican women from DeKalb, Fulton, and Cobb. And that's all we won by last time was 100,000 votes, okay? Mike is well thought of, and we think Cobb, Fulton, and Cobb are not that big of a deal because they're Democrat counties now, but there's still 1 million Republican votes in those 3 counties, okay? And if we lose 100,000 or 200,000 of them to my lovely squishy Republican women who I love very much, we could lose, okay? So Mike's who I'm worried about. Keisha, I would love to run against because she quit her job 1.5 years before she was done, theoretically, and she would be easy to run against. But here's what Gavin, obviously his people didn't brief him on who he was on the stage with. Now, if I were his staff person, I would have said, hey, make the self-deprecating remark, but acknowledge the fact that whether you like Andre Dickens or not, he's a chemical engineering degree from Georgia Tech. Okay, Georgia Tech only graduates a couple of hundred of those a year. And you have to be really smart to get into the chemical engineering program. I don't care if you're black, white, or brown. It doesn't, not for a black man, he's smart. He's smart for anybody because he had a chemical engineering degree. There's very few of those. And that's what everybody has missed about this. That Gavin Newsom was sitting on the stage with probably the best educated mayor in the country, definitely the best educated mayor Atlanta's ever had. Now, there's different kinds of education. I believe in street smarts too. But if what you're talking about is an SAT and getting into college and all that stuff, Andre Dickens is not anybody you should be slack about. So I talked to his folks, and they were the ones that sent me the picture of the audience, and he did push back a little bit because he is a Democrat. He doesn't want the Democrats to look bad, and he knows how bad they looked when Gavin Newsom didn't really understand who he was sitting next to. Okay? So I want to make sure you have the correct information when we're talking about things like that, because I initially thought it was a black audience. I made that assumption. You know what happens when you assume things? Okay, I made the assumption that because it was him and Andre Dickens that the audience was black. It was not. Okay, the audience was mostly white, but there were some black folks in there, and everybody had their hands crossed. Okay, which means they weren't that happy about what they were seeing and hearing. So, and I also have to say, do you know that was a book tour appearance? So you're trying to sell a book, and you're telling people you don't read very well. Kind of doesn't go together, okay? Now, granted, he's already gotten a big advance, so he doesn't really care whether he sells a lot of books or not. And the dirty little secret behind all of that is that for a guy like Gavin Newsom, somebody's going to come along and buy a bunch of those books and give them away. It's not that really he sells a bunch of those books or anything. There are people in your life that are rich, and they will buy boxes and boxes and boxes of the books and makes it look like you've sold a ton of the books, which is technically true, but they're just being bought to give away. So it's not the same thing as a bunch of people going, oh, yeah, this is the big book of the year. Let me go out and buy it. Not like when I went out and bought Robert Caro's Master of the Senate, which is like my favorite book. I am a geek. Okay, there's 3 books in the series. They're those books that took me like an entire summer to read because there was so much in them. But they were the story of the Senate. And the reason why I picked it up, not because it was about LBJ, who was the worst president next to Joe Biden ever, but not because of that, but because of the history of Richard Russell that was in those 3 books. Because Richard Russell's a guy we don't like to talk about anymore because, yes, he was a segregationist. But to be fair to him, he died in 1971, and there weren't too many rich white guys in the South that weren't segregationists in 1971, including Jimmy Carter. Okay? So we got to look at people through the lens of their time and not through the lens of today. Okay? And you know what? If Richard Russell had lived beyond 1971, he might have been a different kind of guy by the time he died, too. All right? So we got to give people a little grace, and we've got to understand the historical perspective of things. But, we've got a lot of work to do. And this is why, as I've said before, that the entry of Rick Jackson into this race has turned it upside down. Now, I don't know how it's going to ultimately end up. It may end this cycle of people running for 2 years and you getting sick of them. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to end up. Well, we're going to find out how it started next because we're going to talk to Rick Jackson. We'll be back.
Have you been driving 25 in a 55-mile-per-hour zone? Are your passengers concerned about your vision? Don't let glare at night or in the rain slow you down. Hi, this is Kim. Here at Advanced Eye Center, we offer all laser LASIK, clear lens exchange, specialty lenses with laser cataract surgery, as well as contacts and designer glasses. Our doctors handle a wide variety of vision problems for people of all ages and are skilled at providing fantastic solutions. Come see why we're voted best in Hall County year after year. Advanced Eye Center, vision correction for all ages.
All right, fellas, 2 words for you. Prostate exam. Did your butt just clench up? Are you imagining the finger right now? Well, you can relax. Prostate cancer screening starts with a simple, finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. But that's no reason to reclench. When caught early, at localized or even regional stage, prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate. Did your tight end just relax? Good. If you're 40 or older and have a prostate, Visit RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com to find out if a PSA blood test is right for you. The PSA blood test can be the first step in screening. Talk to your doctor to evaluate your risk, determine when to get tested, and discuss screening options and next steps. That's RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com. Sponsored by Novartis.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm CJ Papa. The family of Nancy Guthrie, missing for 24 days, offers a $1 million reward for the return of their mother. Her daughter, Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, posting on Instagram.
Every hour and minute and second and every long night has been agony since then, of worrying about her and fearing for her and aching for her. And most of all, just missing her.
At least 3 dozen Democratic lawmakers will skip the State of the Union address from President Trump.
We are told that a large portion of tonight's speech will focus on the economy, with the president laying out exactly why he and congressional Republicans are the best suited to tackle affordability.
Fox's Aisha Hasni, America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. In Monday's proceedings in the trial of the father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray saw an hours-long testimony from Marcy Gray, Colin's wife and Colt's mother. She voiced past concern for Colt's mental state ahead of the shooting that killed 4 people and left 9 injured.
I think in general, the defendant just didn't want to deal with it. We just wanted to not pay attention to it and hope it would go away.
During Marcy's testimony, defense motioned for a mistrial, but that motion was denied. 2 window washers were rescued Monday afternoon after an equipment malfunction in downtown Gainesville. WDUN's Hamilton Keener reports.
Gainesville Fire Rescue said the 2 workers were inside a boom lift on the Gainesville Square when the equipment released and turned upside down. Crews responded to the scene and used a ladder truck to safely bring both individuals to the ground. The workers were wearing proper safety harnesses at the time of the incident, which prevented injuries.
And a medical campus for patient-centered care is opening in Rabun County soon, and MedLink Georgia is preparing its ribbon-cutting ceremony in late March. This will be along US 441 near Claiborne Street in Clayton. More details can be found through MedLink's website, with a link to that site found at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast from meteorologist Holly Strano.
Good Tuesday morning, North Georgia. It is a chilly start to the day. Partly cloudy skies. Will end up in the low 50s. Turning cloudy as we head into tonight, upper 30s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
And right now in Toccoa, we have 30 degrees. Decula reporting 34 degrees. And in Gainesville, 32. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their Customer Assurance Maintenance Plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin. Check out the new savings event here at Hayes. 2026 Chevy Trax for only $24,990. 2025 Chevy Suburbans for $11,000 off MSRP. Or best of all, a 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500, $10,000 off MSRP, including trades assistance rebate. Ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty and come check out these deals and more at Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
I grew up in the projects, then foster homes. I know hunger. I know dodging the rent collector. I know inflation and high prices hit working people the hardest. For politicians, those are just talking points. To me, they were life and death. I will cut your income taxes in half and freeze our insane property taxes. I know what it's like. I've got this. I'm Rick Jackson.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and we're here with Rick Jackson now, and we're so happy to have him here with us in the studio. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you, Martha. I'm so glad to see you're up and around and doing well.
Thank you. And we've been friends a long time. I think you called me when I was running for Congress, and I came down and had lunch with you. And since then, we've been good friends and helped each other with a lot of different projects. So I appreciate you being here.
I'm glad to be here, and thank you for all the things you've done to help on foster care over the years.
Thank you. Now, your story, now everybody knows that you came from very difficult beginnings. And what I like to say about you is you broke the cycle. You know, your family could have been just as broken as the family you came from, but you broke the cycle. So tell us a little bit about that. And then I'm going to ask you about this best kept secret in the political world, earthquake that you have caused in the last few weeks. But tell us about you first.
Well, first of all, it was very difficult, as you can appreciate. I didn't have a father, and my mother was an alcoholic. I went to 8 different elementary schools and 5 different high schools. But most of the time in elementary school, I grew up in a place called Techwood Homes. And it was very difficult because I was by myself a lot. Somehow or another, I still went to school and did okay there. But you feel, as a child, you feel completely out of control, obviously. And so it got to a point where I actually ran away to what is called DFACS, and ran away to go to foster home because I couldn't handle it anymore. I just didn't want to be around my mother, her alcoholism, and the abuse, as well as all the stepfathers that I had that were coming in and out and so forth like that. So it was a very chaotic thing. The good news is I went to church by myself a lot, and that's where I got a lot of refuge out of that. And any rate, I was able to, and I think it's because of God's help getting through the cycle. What I didn't do is I didn't buy into the narrative that I hear today. That when you're poor like that, rich people are evil. You'll never make it. Everything's stacked against you, and so forth like that. And I just think that's what I'm hearing today is just demeaning. My sense is, and what I tell kids, is that they are somebody. They can make it if they will take ownership in their own life and don't rely on everybody else except friends that will help you. Then you can get out of the cycle. And that's the basis of the foster kids that we help over the last 20 years, as well as the Fostering Success Bill that you helped us with as well, to help these kids aging out so they can break the cycle and have a better future. And it's that I know I've never been called a billionaire before this happened. Okay, I think my wife was surprised when she heard that. But my point is that. But when you grow up and you see the struggles of people, you never forget that. You never forget broken homes, people not eating, some of those things. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Look.
But my point is that it's those people. While I'm doing this, I don't have to do it. I don't need power or prestige. I'm doing it because what I have found is that these people are forgotten and they don't have a voice in legislation because they don't have money. And so that's what I want to do.
So a few weeks ago, you shocked everybody. It was the best kept secret in politics. Nobody, you definitely know how to lock down a secret. Let me tell you, I'm telling you that. And then you came in, and and as you know, I have been supporting Chris Carr, and we didn't know about it, we didn't hear about it, and it turned this entire race upside down. And if you do not acknowledge that, you are not living in the real world. I don't mean you, but I'm talking about the people out there, the consulting class, the people who think they know everything, the political class. This entry of you into this race has turned this entire race upside down.
Well, this is actually very symbolic of the way I work. I don't talk. I do. I don't tell people what I'm going to do. I just do it. And that's the problem with a lot of politicians is they make statements and don't make a difference. And so from my standpoint, it kind of came fast. It was a last-minute decision. But I think it was important that we keep it to ourselves until we're ready to go, and therefore that's what we're doing. And we're playing catch-up right now because we're building our campaign team, and I'm trying to stretch a year of campaigning in the next 60 or 70 days. But I have been very pleased with the response to the message, and to me, it's been I've never felt the presence of God more than I have in the last 3 weeks. It's been amazing. It really has, and it makes me even more motivated that I'm doing what I need to do.
So what, in the short time that you've been campaigning, as you have been talking to people, what are you seeing, one, as the most important issues to people, but two, are they different than what you thought they would be?
Well, yes and no. First of all, I think people are hurting from a affordability standpoint. I mean, one of the things that I saw what Trump was doing is in the last year, it just showed me what a business person outsider could do to actually help the working people of Georgians. And so obviously taxes are a big deal. The property taxes was a surprise to me. I got to tell you, I did not know how bad it was. I can't tell you how many elderly people that are telling me they're going to have to sell their house because of their property tax. They bought their home 25 years ago. Now they can't even afford their property taxes to keep their house, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, and then people are concerned about law and order and deporting criminal illegals, and so I'm hearing a lot of that. Now, I went down to Perry last week, and I admitted to them that in Georgia, down at Techwood Homes, we didn't grow a lot of tomatoes and corn and so forth, and I need to understand the agriculture. And I've heard a lot about the things and the struggles that they're having, for sure. But what I really think is that people want somebody that's real, that's not going to give them a political answer, and that actually cares about them. And so they won't find a better friend from that standpoint than I am, and a better advocate. So that's been pleasantly surprised, and I'm just really pleased with the response of people to the message.
So the attacks have come quickly, right? You got called a billionaire, which I don't know. I'm kind of like you. I've always wanted to, I always looked at people that were successful and thought, what can I learn from them? Not that they were my enemies. But there is this ad out there saying that, yeah, you came late to the Trump thing. Yes, you gave him money, but it wasn't until last year, and that you supported all these other Republicans. But what do you say to that? The people that are criticizing you on that.
Well, look, like J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, I didn't support Trump early on in the years, but there's nobody that supports him more than now. I mean, look, let me give you some examples. So we bought in 2021. We bought the last remaining antibiotic plant in the United States because I found out that there was the only one left, and we were so reliant on China, and I just felt like I had to do it. It was dumb business decision. I knew it when it happened, but at any rate, so we changed the name of it to U.S. Antibiotics. Under Biden's administration, that took 7 months to approve our logo that was exactly on the same side, part of the bottle as it was before, but took 7 months. Now, roll forward, last September, the Trump administration really is trying to streamline the FDA. I know there's a lot of concern about that, but this is the biggest deal that nobody's talking about, the FDA. So in September, they had this accelerated program to speed up approval of drugs and so forth. So we had a drug called amoxicillin XRs for kids. It's extended release, so that you don't have to take as many doses and so forth like that, especially with children or upset stomach. Anyway, hasn't been manufactured or sold since 2008. We applied for a fast track in September. They said, okay, you apply in October. We applied in October. They approved it in 60 days. That's like light speed. Now, that was a business solution. I go to meet some people in the White House and tell them about, we sell amoxicillin for 7 cents a dose. You know what you pay for it? You pay $1. There's 4 different elements in between, people in the middle between us manufacturing. I could ship it to you for 14 cents, make more money, and save you a lot of money, by the way.
Yeah.
So at any rate, and then they said, well, did you know about Trump RX? And I go, no. And they said, well, we'll announce it next week. The whole purpose, that was a business solution. They saw a problem, eliminate the people in the middle, and so forth. And so when I saw that and all of the just many things that you look at it like a business person does. What's the problem? What's the solution? And then you follow up and make it accountable. So it's totally different than what I see in politics today.
So one question, this came in from our friend Greg Bluestein. He says there's currently a bill, House Bill 1362, that's sponsored by Jason Ridley, that is going to say that you cannot hold public office if you transact business with the state, and everybody agrees that this has been geared towards you. Any thoughts about that? Do you know about that?
I just laughed at it. It's just so petty, and it's just part of using the system to, for your own sake and so forth. But this is just an example of how you make a point but don't make a difference. That bill's not going to go anywhere. I just ignored it. Because, to be honest, I think half of the people at Capitol would have to quit working if that was the case. So a lot of people do with the government. But the point is that I just I think it's a waste of time to do those kind of things. And that's the kind of things I want to get rid of. When I talk about politicians talk versus, there are so many bills, and I want to be careful about mentioning specific ones, but there's so many bills that everybody applauds. They have a press conference and all that. Then you look at it a year later, it did zero. Nothing happened. There's no accountability. So when I created Fostering Success, the goal was not to get a tax credit. The goal wasn't to help, to try to help kids. The goal was to actually get it to work. And so that's why I formed a nonprofit to make sure. Today, the kids that age out, we started 2 years ago. We saw our first young lady living in a car at Georgia Tech in August of 23. We rolled forward. Today, there's 500 kids that we provide a life coach and financial support so they can go to school to break the cycle, exactly what you're talking about. It's working. A business, when I want to come up with solutions for the state of Georgia, it is not to, for instance, I'm not running to be governor. I'm running to be a good governor. And there is a huge difference between those two things. It's not the title. It's to be a good governor and actually make things work for people.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we've got one more segment with Rick Jackson.
Tariffs, immigration, and the economy are on the agenda as President Trump delivers his State of the Union address. Live coverage from Fox begins tonight at 8 on North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Winter days have me dreaming of sunny, warm shores and great times with friends around the table. That's why I'm looking forward to teaming up with Colette and Peach State Bank and Trust to head to Portugal with you this fall. It's Bill Main inviting you to join us as we enjoy multiple nights in charming Porto and the amazing Algarve coast. We'll walk the cobblestone streets and cruise the scenic Douro River, from the colorful capital of Lisbon to the stunning whitewashed villages of the Algarve. We'll savor wonderful foods, bask on beautiful beaches, and even tour a family-owned cork factory. If you missed the recent informational meeting we had with Colette, fear not, it's not too late to find out more and to get signed up. All you need to do is log on to WDUNtravels.com for all the information. You can even sign up there, or call Colette at 800-581-8942. Get your questions answered and then get on board with us September 28th as we head for Portugal. Presented by Colette, Peach State Bank and Trust, and North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Todd Starnes here for the folks at Extreme Clean Auto Spa, where keeping your car clean is easy and affordable. Extreme Clean keeps your car looking great with the touch-free car wash at their Browns Bridge Road location. Plus, they make it affordable with monthly memberships for less than the price of 2 washes, and it's good for 1 wash per day. Now, that's what I call a great value. So keep your car clean without cleaning out your wallet. Visit Extreme Clean on Browns Bridge Road and just off White Sulphur Road in Gainesville. Veteran-owned and operated. It's Extreme Clean Auto Spa.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. And let me tell you, I love numbers. 1040s, 1099s, W-2s, all of them. With TaxSlayer, anyone can file a federal return for just $22.99. You'll get 100% accuracy and your biggest possible refund guaranteed. Now those are great numbers. Need help along the way? We've got U.S.-based real human support. File by February 8th for just $22.99 and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, Forsyth commissioners approved their Parks and Recreation Department's request for the gated entry and exit to Mary Alice Park. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It's the Martha Zoller Show. We're here with Rick Jackson. You can text us at 770-535-2911. Scott from Gainesville said, I was undecided until I saw you on TV. I watched your commercial and listened to your message, and when you said, I got this, I believed you. I want a sign for my yard. So on the technology side, or on the retail side, how do people get the information about you and a sign for their yard if they want to?
Just go to rickjackson.com and somebody will be glad to assist you, and thank you for that.
Yes.
I'm glad I came to your show. I got a sign out of it.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, you wanted me to ask you again about your wealth, because you said you've never been called a billionaire. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, in 2008, I made several decisions about that. Number one, it's not my money. It's God's money. I'm a steward. In 2008, I also decided that I drew the finish line and that everything above what I made in 2008 would all go away, and we made that. So
would be given away.
Yes. It is being given away, and to be honest, God's blessed me so much. I'm behind a little bit in getting that done, but this is actually part of that I want to use God's money in a way that can have return on kingdom impact and impact for all people to help. And so that's the way I see that. I've never been called a billionaire before. I'm embarrassed by it, and I just because it's not my money. So, but I do have a responsibility to use it in a wise way, and that's what I pray for every night, is for wisdom on how to give it away.
So we got a question from Jeannie about your stance on expanding gambling in Georgia.
I will tell you that we're already gambling and so forth. And I don't know. I will tell you, I am not familiar with all of the bills that may be coming forward and so forth like that. I'll study it more. I do. I have a general thing that's probably not great for a politician, but my personal beliefs. I don't want to individually say that my personal belief I'm going as a religion that I'm going to force it on somebody. So I tend to like to have people make those kind of decisions from that standpoint. But I understand the concerns of people about expanding gambling and so forth and what you kind of have. So that's one I'm going to have to pray about more, because I'm not exactly sure right now how I would feel about expanding anything in gambling.
Okay, so one of the biggest unintended consequences from the Reagan era was the block grants related to mental health and the kind of destruction of the big mental health hospitals over that time period, the last 50 years. And right now, I talk to a lot of families that have no options for these children that have mental health problems, and sometimes they're adults. And we are trying to do a lot of work in Georgia related to mental health, but I can tell you these families are saying they're not seeing it on the ability of where to go. Have you heard that, and do you have any thoughts on that?
I haven't heard it, but I understand mental health is one of the biggest problems that we don't talk about, period. And for instance, I didn't know that 1/3 of our farmers have considered committing suicide. I found that out like a week or two ago, which is a mental health problem. We have mental health issues with our law enforcement people. Our foster kids can't have access to mental health. A lot of our kids have. So this is the biggest part of healthcare that we're missing. And I have a lot of solutions for that. One of them is that we have, our company has the largest telepsychiatry business in the world. Okay, we help hospitals. When somebody comes, they have to have a psychiatric evaluation to be admitted. So we do that remotely. I think we need to set up a complete telehealth mental health system, especially for our kids. We're going to do it for foster care if I'm governor, I can guarantee you. But also, and I want to show, for instance, the farmers they could put together a good mental health just for farmers. The people that are struggling. It's very difficult. There's 6 generations of farming, and they're worried about losing their farm and what they're doing and so forth. So a lot of people have a lot of mental health issues. I just think that the reimbursement is not accurate from the feds in order to solve the problem. Personally, I think if we solved more mental health issues, you'd have less other illnesses. So I actually think it's a good return on investment to spend money to do that. And I have a solution for a lot of health care that we don't have time to discuss today. But I think mental health is a big deal. We need to address it.
And again, if people want to help you, how can they do it?
Go to rickjackson.com.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Martha.
And we will
Appreciate
see
it.
you soon. And there's so much more to come. We want you to be a part of this discussion. Everybody's invited to be here, and we're going to keep talking because we're always here, always local.